The Trump administration is now preparing to accept a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar.
Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders.
Ben Shapiro criticizes Trump for accepting a gift of a $400 million jet from Qatar. I like how Trump handles it. Trump goes, what am I going to do? If someone offers you a putt, you take the putt, right? Here he is just saying, if someone gives you a jet, you take the jet. Let me know in the comments in chat, do you think Trump should have taken that jet? Or do you think he should have said, oh no, you bloody well didn't? Should he give that jet to the people? Check this out, right? I know this person, Amma. She's the hugging saint. If you try and give Amma money, she'll give it straight back to people. When I was working in Hollywood, the president of Warner Brothers Studio was a follower of Amma's, and like he would say, like, we're sending her a private jet to, you know, bring her over here or whatever, and she would just fill the private jet up with stuff for the poor. Like, you know, she like just wouldn't accept stuff. I visited her in her ashram. She slept on the floor in some sort of little hut, and I'm like, yeah, cool, man. This is how I want my leaders. Now, if that is what you want from your leaders, I suppose you're acknowledging something in yourself. You're saying, I don't want people who are captured by materialism and commerce as my leaders. Do you want that? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Or do you just accept that, oh, I preferred Kamala Harris over Donald? If what you wanted was Kamala Harris, you ain't got a fucking leg to stand on. That was meaningless. It's meaningless. If you are a kind of pro-neoliberal person, all you really have are such minor preferences. It's like you are into the Monkees or something, or like NSYNC. It's like it's meaningless. Unless what you actually have are some valid principles, then just get on and accept that Trump is the kind of president that the world needs because of his sort of bellicosity, his ease, his kind of ability to front up to people. Unless you're fully Dalai Lama'd up, unless you're fully Christed up, or unless you're fully into Muhammad, unless you've actually got some sort of set of principles, just accept this is the way the world's going, man. Here he is responding to ABC News about being given his $400 million plane.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or $400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know? There was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto. When they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that. Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully.
Interesting. Okay. But Ben Shapiro, of course, sees it differently, presumably because Qatar it's a Muslim nation, ultimately. Let's see what Ben Shapiro says. Let's work this out for ourselves.
The Trump administration is now preparing to accept a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. It is a $400 million gift available for use by President Trump as new Air Force One until shortly before he leaves office, at which time, according to the deal, the plane doesn't stay with the United States government. It then moves to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation, taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Jazeera, all the rest. That's not America first. Like, please define America first in a way that says you should take sacks of cash from the Qatari royals who are behind Al Jazeera. It just isn't America first in any conceivable way. So back to the original question. Is this good for President Trump? Is it good for his agenda? Is it good for draining the swamp and getting things done? The answer is no, it isn't. It isn't. If you want President Trump to succeed, this kind of skeezy stuff needs to stop.
Okay, so Shapiro has a strong view. He sees that as essentially a bribe. Or didn't he say skeezy was the word? Ben Shapiro is obviously a devout Jew whose love of Israel and Judaism, that's his map, his guide, his coordinates for his entire reality. I don't think that Ben Shapiro would query that perspective. Indeed, I've had conversations with Ben Shapiro. That is his viewpoint. He's a religious Jew. I'm a religious Christian now. So when I'm trying to work out what my perspective is on reality, I don't have to consult Russell Brand and his memories. I consult the Bible and what Christ explicitly says. Love one another as I have loved you, love the Lord God with all your heart. He seems to be preaching, indeed is preaching, a position of loving non-attachment in this world. So if we were trying to instantiate the principles of Christianity in government, we would want, I suppose, people that were not attached to material principles. But I suppose you want managerial and pragmatic politicians in charge of your economy, in charge of your borders. Do you? Let's have a look here at the opposition to the Trump administration. The most prominent Dems now, would you agree? Let me know in the comments and chat, are Gavin Newsom, AOC, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, if the Democrat Party wasn't corrupt, would have been the presidential candidate against Trump in 2016. The Democrat Party is corrupt. It's completely corrupt. Maybe the Republican Party is corrupt as well, but I feel that the Trump anomaly was at odds with the previous interests of the Republican Party, that the Republican Party had to reform, metastasize, and remobilize around Trump. The Democrats didn't allow that. If the Democrats were a practical and adept political movement, they would have seen the way the wind was blowing, recognized that in Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard in particular, to name but two, they had a chance of reforming, or maybe they'd even have looked at candidates like Marianne Williamson and said, wait a minute, in order to oppose the rising populism of nativist MAGA, we're going to have to find some kind of rebuttal to that, some sort of alternative to that. They didn't do that. They said, no, we're sticking with slick, managerial, selected, groomed politicians. Obama, Clinton. That's what they want to stay with. Newsom. Now, Bernie Sanders made his bones in his name by saying that he was anti-billionaire class, anti-oligarchy. On his anti-oligarchy tour with AOC, he's been traveling on a private jet. The problem is, I think, that we don't have any leaders that we feel are representative of the type of principles that we believe in. And maybe it's deeper than that. I don't think we know what principles we believe in anymore. What do you believe in? What do you want? What is your vision for America? Is your vision for America, you want the America first? What do you mean by America first? Is it that you want ordinary Americans to live in harmony? What do you want? What are you asking for?
You know, Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan, she said you shouldn't be using oligarch. It's over people's head. You've gotten criticized from other people. Free Beacon says Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars in campaign funds on private jet travel over the years. How do you push back on both of those things?
When's the last time you saw Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport?
He's the president. He never talks about the oligarchy. He's very plain and open that he believes in the free market, that he believes in capitalism, that he believes in America first. There's no hypocrisy. The problem is this. Donald Trump on a private jet is not hypocrisy. That's Donald Trump on a private jet. Donald Trump eating a McDonald's is not hypocrisy. That's Donald Trump having a McDonald's. Bernie Sanders on a private jet, it's a problem, because I watched that guy saying that it was hypocritical for Robert Kennedy's website. It's not even his website, it's the Child's Health Alliance, having a onesie for that. Do you denounce this onesie?
Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
They can't live up to their own principles. Nor can I, nor can you. So let's recognize human power is flawed and it should be minimized and always guided by divine principles. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat, because there's a hypocrisy to Bernie Sanders being on a private jet that is not evident or apparent with Trump's got his fucking name written on the side of his private jet. That's not hypocrisy. It's a different deal. Free speech is under attack. Mine particularly, yours and everybody's. We have to fight back. And how are we going to fight back? Rumble. You get Rumble Premium, you don't only get great content creators like old Rusty Brandstein, AIPAC supported Zionist. You also get Mustafa Brandajahad. He loves Islam. Also, you get old Russ. He loves Trump. And then you get Russell. He's a big fan of Kamala Harris. How many people do you need on one channel? You got to get it. No Not only do you get me, you get Mug Club with Crowder. You get Glenn Greenwald. He broke the Edward Snowden story. What do you want from people? You get Kim Iverson. It's all available to you in the Rumble chat. For a limited time, you can get 10 of your American dollars off, and you can use crypto, baby, using the promo code APAC. No, using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/brand and get your discount today. Together, we can turn the crimson tide of foaming propaganda and stay free together. Click the link.
No, it doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarchy.
No. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people.
I can tell from how he's talking that he's a bit embarrassed about it and ashamed, because look, we all know this. Like, you could take that $220,000 provided by friends of Bernie Sanders and gone, oh, should I just, I care about poverty, so I'm going to give it to a soup kitchen. But then I could make that choice, right? I could say, I'm going to do this show for nothing. We're just going to minimize everything. We're just going to pay for the staffing costs and the lighting costs. And then everything else, I'm going to spend it all serving Jesus. Guess what? I'm too weak. I'm too weak to do it. That's why I'm not trying to be the president of the United States. Also, I'm not from America.
Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting. That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
And you think that this is hitting a mark? You think it's scratching the itch that voters want to hear from?
I think at a time when the people on top are doing phenomenally well, when seniors, working class people are struggling, people want to hear action to stand up to the people who have the wealth and the power and create an economy that works for all of us, not just the people on top.
I'm going to fly around the world on a private jet. Wherever there's poverty, I'll be there on my jet. And I'm going to sit down on a golden throne and feed Campbell's chicken soup to every single poor person in the world.
Do you see that that's not going to be a long-term solution? Actually, what you're watching is the demise and cessation of the Democrat movement. It can no longer self-sustain. It became irrelevant probably around the Clinton 1 era. Then there was the sort of amazing marketing boom of Obama. That was slick. That was fantastic. Black president, great idea, brilliant distraction, should have been fantastic. But then remember, 2008, bailed out the banks, shat on the American people, bombed the arse out of Syria, drone more people, and deported more people than Trump, even though Trump's fully campaigning around, advocating and messaging around deportation, okay? So that was total bullshit. Now, they tried then to prolong it by moving the focus to culture. What the Democrat Party is about is oppressed minorities. Forget the working class people. Forget working class Americans. To hell with them. No, what we're going to focus on is small minority interests and supporting them vocally. Why? Because you can do that without any cost and you can amplify your point of difference from the Republican Party. That didn't work because it was not legitimate. It was not honest. You don't need to carve people up into ever increasingly small groups if what you actually believe in is kindness and love. If you believe in kindness and love, that covers everyone. Everyone's covered by that. If you believe that we're all broken, we've all sinned and we're all saved by the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, everyone's covered. Everyone's covered. You don't need to go, oh, have you ever noticed that the people that have only got 9 toes are having a tough old time of it? It's a niche issue. Let's focus on the fact that the Democrat Party have been running on fumes for a long, long time. Here they are in the form of John Kerry, remember when he stood for president, flying around on private jets, claiming to know nothing about these private jets.
I don't own a private jet. I don't own a private jet. I personally have never owned a private jet. And obviously, it's pretty stupid to talk about coming in a private jet from the State Department up here. It just, honestly, if that's where you want to go there.
Mr. Secretary, do you stand by that testimony that you've never owned or
I personally,
your family? By your family?
Personally, yes. My wife owned a plane and stole the plane.
You flew on that plane?
Not in a number of years, but I have flown on it.
That plane, did it have jets on it? Yeah. Could other people come on it, or was it exclusive? Yeah, it was exclusive. So was it a private jet? Yeah. And your wife, would you say that you're connected to her? Do you file tax returns together, live in a house, have sex, stuff like that? Look, I don't want to get into my marriage. That's my marriage. People just say whatever they need to say in order to legitimize their position. I do it as well. We're all doing it all the time. That's why we can't be in charge. I can't be in charge. You can't be in charge. John Kerry can't be in charge. No one should be in charge. God should be in charge, and our actions should be undergirded by his guidance, which, as I keep telling you, is available. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat about this apparent hypocrisy? And the fact that we're aware of hypocrisy is an indicator that within us we have a very sensitive barometer to righteousness. We know that something's right. Yes, of course, there's such a thing as social inculcation. You could train someone over time with slaps around the face and splashes of cold water to be terrified of goats or mice or rainbows or monkeys or little half-full teacups with strawberry lemonade in them. Of course you could do that. But there also seems to be some inherent awareness of right and wrong. C.S. Lewis explains this brilliantly in his book, Mere Christianity, and all of us are aware of it every time we feel that urge, that pang, that longing to judge others. That's just what I think, though. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.